Welcome. Let's start off at the very top of the mat. Feet about hips width apart. Bring your hands into prayer position. Press the palms together. Allow the shoulders to relax. Chin level to the ground and breathe. Deep inhales. In through the nose. Slow exhales out through the nose as well. One more breath. Next inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. A big stretch, let the palms touch, and as you exhale, fold into forward bend. Knees can be a little softer here. Just let the upper body relax forward, soften your shoulders, your neck, and feel free to make small movements, swing the body gently side to side, shaking the head, nodding yes, shaking no. Next inhale, lift up halfway. Your hands can be on your shins or on the floor. Look for a flat back, long spine. And exhale to fold into a forward bend. And inhale, come all the way back up. Bend those knees as you come up. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Let the palms touch. Take a gentle back bend. And exhale back to the start. Adding in the side stretch. Inhale, reach those arms up and over. Interlace fingers, pointer index fingers. Plant your feet down about hips width apart if they aren't already there, and start to tilt slightly over to the right side, hips to the left. As you do this, think of length through the opposite side of the body. You feel a stretch open up to the left side of the body, and continue to breathe here. Deep inhales and long exhales. Next inhale, come back up to the center, and same thing on the other side. Inhale, drop back to the middle and release your hands, interlace the fingers behind your back. Just palms facing one another. Press the hands away from the body. Plant the feet down firmly. Your knees can be slightly bent. Suck in the belly. Start to turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. Project the chest up as well. And soften, allow the hands to just touch the hips. Turn your gaze over to one shoulder, rotate the chin down towards the chest, over to the other side, and just a few of these. Good, and find your way back to the center, release the hands, sweep the arms up and overhead, let the palms touch, and as you exhale, fold into forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway for that flat back. Exhale, plant your hands on the mat. Step, walk, or hop back into high push-up. Okay. Lower the knees down onto the ground. Draw the hips back. Keep reaching the hands forward. You may have to walk those hands forward a little bit more. Let the head drop in between the biceps, keeping the hips up high. Couple more deep breaths. Press back up into a tabletop. Come into your hands and knees. You can point the toes here if you like. Spread those fingers wide and arch the back, coming into cat pose. Next inhale. Allow the belly to drop. Lift the chin. Tailbone remains high. Cow pose. Come back into a tabletop. Walk your hands forward. Let the chest melt down towards the ground and walk your hands slightly over to one side of the mat. Doesn't matter which side. Keep those hips up high. Try to melt the chest down towards the ground. It's alright if the forearms come down. It's fine. Inhale, come back up. Walk the hands over to the other side and do the same thing. Let the chest melt. Inhale, come on back to the center. Press back up into tabletop. Just a few of these cats and cows on your own. Arch the spine as you exhale. Inhale, belly drops. So you're just going to move with your breath here. A few of these. Find your way back to tabletop. Come into that first downward facing dog. Spread those fingers wide. Lift up into downward dog. Rise up onto your tiptoes and bend those knees deeply, pressing belly towards the thigh. And as you exhale, straighten one leg by pressing the heel down towards the mat. Remember, keep pressing down into those fingertips. Feel those shoulder blades spread wide as you come into this down dog with one knee bent. Next exhale, switch. Switch it around, switch the legs around. And just pedal out the feet here a little, bend one knee and then the other. Good. And come back into downward facing dog. Both legs a little straighter, those heels reaching down towards the mat. Shift forward into high push-up position. You can lower those knees down if you like, or keep the knees off the mat. But we're coming into tricep push-up. Hug the elbows in, close to the body, shift slightly forward, bend those elbows. And come into cobra. Point those toes, draw the chest forward, lifting up high as comfortable for you. Elbows don't have to be straight, mine is slightly bent. Get one more deep breath. Let's take it back into downward facing dog here. Curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back, downward dog. At the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Step, walk or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. And inhale, let's come all the way back up. Stretch yourselves up and overhead. Gentle back bend. Exhale, hands back into prayer. Let's keep going. Inhale, reach. Exhale. As you take this forward bend, reach around. Interlace fingers, press the hands away from the body. Let the neck relax, soften the face. Knees can be slightly bent. 2 more deep breaths. Release the hands and let the arms dangle down towards the mat. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. In your down dog, lift the right foot off the mat. Maybe come into 3-legged dog. If this is not comfortable for you, stay in your regular down dog. Just hold there. Enjoy the stretch. Step the right foot forward to come into a runner's lunge or a low lunge. You help it up so that the front knee is over the front ankle and back toe is curled under, back leg is strong. Softer version, lower the back knee down. You might have to inch that back foot back a little, press that heel back. Start to get that hip flexor stretch to the front of the left hip. Long spine, crown of the head reaches forward, press that left heel back. Stay here or look for a spinal twist. You rotate your chest towards the right side. Your right hand can be on your right thigh, or you can stretch that right hand up towards the ceiling. Excellent. One more deep breath. And we'll bring that right hand back down onto the ground. Step back into downward facing dog from here. You can stay here in down dog. You can come into rest in child's pose or shift forward and take a half sun salutation, low push up dog, and downward facing dog. From here, lift the right foot off the mat, coming into 3-legged dog. Let's step the left foot forward to come into runner's lunge. You can just help it forward, front knee over the front ankle. You might have to inch that right foot heel back. Let those hips sink a little. Crown of the head reaching forward, pressing that right heel back, looking for lots of length in the spine, legs. Just let those hips sink a touch. Looking for that twist, right hands on the ground, rotate your chest towards the left. Perhaps reaching that left hand up towards the ceiling. Here we go, bring that left hand back down into the mat, step back into downward facing dog. Stay there, child's pose or flow. Go push up dog and down dog. Yeah. Coming into a warrior 1, take your right foot lifted up high for 3-legged dog and step the right foot forward, warrior 1. So we're trying to come into that full body stretch, includes the arms as well, shoulders as well. So with your left elbow, wrap it under the right elbow to come into eagle arms. So if you can, your palms are wrapped one on top of the other and you've got the thumbs pointing towards your face. If that's hard, just the back of the hands pressing, or you can even grab opposite shoulders. So we're checking our form here. Front knees bent over the front ankle, back leg is strong and straight. Option to turn your gaze up towards the ceiling as you lift the elbows up just a little bit more. Good, and then soften. Bring the elbows back about shoulder height. Release the hands. Sweep the arms up and overhead, warrior one, and interlace the fingers behind your back. Press the hands slightly away from the body, lift the gaze up towards the ceiling once more. And then stay here, hinge slightly forward about a third of the way. You can try resting the right shoulder on the right thigh or coming into humble warrior, letting the head drop. Maybe the crown of the head will touch the ground. And you're trying to press the hands away from the torso as you do this. Many options to take. One more deep breath. Careful as you come all the way back. Let's see if you can move all the way back up into warrior one. Your legs might be screaming a little here. It's normal. And bring those hands back down into the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. Stay here in down dog. Flow if you need more. Good. And from down dog, take that left leg, reach it up high, any version of three-legged dog. Then step the left foot forward to come into that warrior one. Back heel plants down. You set up carefully in your warrior one. Back heel press down into the ground. Take the right elbow or wrap it under the left, coming into eagle arms. Stay right here if you're feeling it. I'll add that little bit of a back bend, lifting the elbows up slightly, turning your gaze up towards the ceiling. Neutral spine. Release the hands and reach those arms up and overhead. Warrior one first. Interlace the fingers behind your back, switching the grip around if you always have it one way. Press the hands gently away from the hips. Keep the legs in the same position. Turn your gaze up slightly. Stay here. Come down a third of the way. Rest that left shoulder on the left thigh, or let the head drop. Pressing the hands away from the hips. All right, here we go. Come on back up. Do your best to come up into your warrior one first. And then release the hands down into the mat. Step back. Downward facing dog. Again, down dog, flow, half sun salutation, rest in child's pose. Totally up to you how hard you want to push yourself today. Good. And your down dog, stay here or rest in child's pose. 3 deep breaths. Perfect. Next, we'll take our right leg and stretch it up high again, 3-legged dog. And step the right foot to the outside of the right hand, coming into gecko pose or lizard pose, really. Okay, back knee is off the mat if possible, but if you need to, lower it down, a little softer version. Keep that right knee hugged in close to the right tricep. Okay. Let the hips sink a little bit more. You might have to inch that back heel towards the back wall. Right, so if you like today, you can come on down to your forearms. If it's too far away from the ground, your forearms are too far away from the ground, you can go ahead and prop a block underneath the forearms as well. It just gives you a little lift. You can stay on your hands as well. Keep letting those hips sink. It wants to come up, it wants to lift up high, let it sink. Don't let that right knee open up. Do your best to keep it hugged in close to the body. From here, you might find that you can bring your right hand to the back of your right ankle, maybe a little hook there to tuck the right shoulder under the right knee. So if you're feeling strong here, you can try stretching that right hand out towards the right side, and then the same thing with the left hand, reaching it out as well. And if it's all right for you to look for a bind, reach around and look for the other hand. So that's pretty strong here. You can do one of the variations here as well. You don't have to come into that bind. Okay. And then carefully we'll unwind that and find our way back to downward facing dog. A little bit of movement, stretch it out. Okay. Sun salutation if you need to. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Next, we'll take that left leg, stretch it up high. Three-legged dog. Any version you like. And step that left foot to the outside of the left hand. Hug that left knee in towards the left tricep. Maybe walk that right foot back a little. Keep letting those hips sink down a little bit more. Come down to your forearms if possible, or use those blocks. You can stay right here or look for that little hook and bring the hand to the back of the left ankle, maybe the shoulder under the knee. Again, staying here is fine. You can stretch that left hand out or the right hand as well. And then again, we can look for that bind, reaching around, looking for the other hand. And just doing your very best to keep the hips from twisting or the shoulders from twisting. And then once you're here and you want to come out, slowly unwind, being mindful with the movement and making your way back to downward facing dog. Again, those options. Good. From your down dog, step or walk your feet to the back of your hands to come into a wide squat. Okay. If this is hard for you, hands can remain on the ground. You can have your heels lifted off the mat slightly. We're working on the ankle flexibility here as well. Just trying to get that heel down. You can always roll a blanket or a mat, an extra mat under those heels. If you have your hands off the ground, bring your hands into prayer position and coming into squat. A couple more deep breaths here. Excellent. Next, if you want to try to come into a crow pose, you can. If crow pose is not for you today, you can also work just to bring some weight into the hands. So in your crow pose today, try to spread those fingers out wide and place the hands in that downward facing dog distance, about shoulders width apart. Yeah, let's come into crow pose. Turn your gaze slightly forward, knees on the tricep, and then you can lift one foot off the ground or the other or both. So in this pose, it's like a teeter-totter. You have to make sure your gaze is slightly forward, not tucked in, so that you don't fall down, okay? So if you can, 5 breaths here. Okay, so once you're done, you can jump, step, or hop back into your low push-up. Do your best, okay? Or you can just find your way back to downward facing dog. So once in down dog, we're just going to come down and take our seated position just for a moment here to stretch out those hips. So in your own way, you can jump forward, you can flow, or just come right down and grab a seat. And just a little bit more love for the hips and those legs. Starting off with cobbler's pose, soles of the feet together, knees open up. Okay, holding onto your feet or to your ankles. Draw the belly button forward, long spine as you bring the belly button closer towards the feet. And then when you can't go anymore, allow the spine to soften and round out. Just find a little bit more softness here. Good, one more deep breath. Your inhale brings you back up to seated. Kick that right foot out to the side and coming into like a half bound angle pose, half cobblers pose. And we're taking a side stretch here. So you want to try to keep the left shoulder aligned with the left leg. So right shoulder aligned with your right leg. And slide that right hand down the inside of the right leg. Press that left shoulder back. Turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. If you're feeling enough here with the hamstring stretch and you're feeling a little bit in that low back, stay where you are. If you want a little bit more, top hand reaches up and forward. And then of course, if you're quiet, you have a little bit more flexibility. You can try to grab a hold of that foot, press open, but don't worry if you can't get there. Inhale to come back up to seated. Turn to face your bent knee and continue to rotate that way. Take the opposite hand, your right hand, to the outside of that bent knee. Good. Rotate back to the center and switch it around. Okay. Again, you align your left shoulder with the left leg. Hand to the inside. Lean into the extended leg. Stay right here or reach that other hand, reaching it up and over. Again, if you can bind with that foot, go for it. Try not to compromise by letting the top shoulder drop down, though. You want to press it open as though there's an imaginary wall behind you and you're pressing back into that wall. Good. Inhale to come back up. Rotate the chest towards the bent knee and keep rotating. Opposite hand to the outside of the left leg. Tall spine, breath flowing. Good, one more deep breath. And then release back to the center and cross those legs or unwind those legs. And let those knees drop side to side in windshield wiper. And then kick those legs out slightly so that the feet can be flat on the ground and knees are bent. Walk your hands back behind you. You can bring those hands a little closer together than you normally have it. Keep walking back until you feel a stretch in the front of the chest, the shoulders. And then lift your gaze up towards the ceiling as you press the chest up a little bit higher. Draw in the belly. Keep that breath flowing. Two more deep breaths. Should feel nice. Okay, and then let's release that. Walk your hands back in a little closer towards the body and come on down to your back. Hug the knees into the chest. Give that a little bit of a roll out. And we're going to bring the right foot and right ankle and cross it over the left, coming into figure four stretch or reclined pigeon here on the back. Okay, so you can hug that leg in. Without using your hand, you press that right knee away from the body, flex the right foot, and you've got a nice hip stretch here. You can reach around, grab a hold of the back of the left leg, left thigh. You want to try to come into a reclined pigeon pose. You can try by holding onto that bent knee, through that right leg, the right shin or right calf, and see you can stretch that left leg out on the mat. Good. And then we'll start to unwind from this pose. Careful as you release that, and then go ahead and switch to the other side. So again, just a figure four stretch here will do. You wrap your hands around the back of the left thigh and look for that stretch. Again, remember, we're not using our hand to press that left knee away from the body, but you're going to use the strength of your leg to do that. You can stay right here or look for a way to extend the right leg. So you just hold on to that left leg and then stretch that right leg. See if you can bring it down to the ground. It may or may not touch down as well. You might have to keep that knee slightly bent. Carefully as you unwind, carefully as you uncross the legs. A little bit of movement here, windshield wipers might be nice. And then a big stretch, reaching the arms overhead, pointing the toes. Big inhale to stretch from toes to fingertips. And exhale to release that. And now here we come into our final twist. If you have a favorite twist that you like to do, go for it. If you want to follow along with me, you do that as well. You bump your hips towards the right side. So pick up your hips, bump it over to the right side of the mat, and then let your knees drop. You can stretch your arms out shoulder height. Maybe the left hand can help to deepen the twist. Or if you want a little bit more, you can try wrapping the top knee over the bottom and see if that makes a difference for you. And turn your gaze away from that bent knee. Next inhale, come on back to the center and repeat the same thing on the other side. Bump your hips towards the left side of the mat and let the knees drop towards the right. Again, if you need more, try wrapping one knee on top of the other, top knee over the bottom. And then turn your gaze away from the knees. Go ahead, come on back to the center and cross those legs. Bring the hips back to the middle of the mat. A little bit of a roll out here might feel nice. And if you're leaving us here now, thank you very much for joining me. If you would like to join me for Savasana, we're going to stretch out, come into Savasana, spending a few minutes here just to close off the class. So allow your body to relax thoroughly. Just scan the body from toes to the crown of the head. Hopefully we've done enough today to feel good for the rest of the day. Allow your arms and legs to soften, close your eyes, find peace, and enjoy Shavasana. slowly begin to make your way out of this pose. Awaken the body with some of the small movements, your fingers, your toes, wrists and ankles, things like that. Maybe even letting the head gently drop side to side. If you like to take a big stretch, a big inhale, reach from fingertips to toes, big inhale, and exhale to release. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that was helpful. Thank you very much and namaste.